Ooh, yes, indeed. Come on with it.
Fire foots.
Fire.
We fire foots. We want to make enough money with just all four.
Split 3 ways instead of 4 ways, man, with it. And powered by Bet US. Come on with it. This show is going to be fire because it's episode 15 and we are mean. I got the mean green ill machine going down over here, and I'm telling y'all right now, it's finna go crazy with all of the information for the nation. AOC, let people know who you are, man. Let them know who you are.
Attack on Cowboys on the platform, man. The mouth of the Cowboys Collective. I'll go ahead and put it out there right now, man.
The mouth of Cowboys Collective.
Pause.
if necessary. Pause. And last but not least, man, I got the guy, man, my brother from another mother, man, John Machota, man. What you got going for us, man? Let people know who you are for before we get going.
Oh, I'm just your average Cowboys beat writer, you know. Around the Cowboys for the last 15 years, just living the dream here.
Let's live in the dream, man, and the dream is great, man, for where you at, because I know a lot of people would love to be where you at, especially with all of the information for the nation. And speaking of that, ladies and gentlemen, I got, before we get this show on the road, we got a super chat from Sadiq with the $5 holla. Appreciate you. She says, I'm the very first to start off sending donations. Come on with it.
Come on, Sadiqa. Pay them bills, Sadiqa.
Pay them bills. And one more person, Eric, man, appreciate you. Love the show, guys. Keep up the great work. Kings. Boy, we 3 kings over here. Come on with it.
I know John may be more of an emperor, but, you know.
Emperor, speaking of that, Emperor John, what we have today, man? What's going on?
I mean, we touched on a lot of stuff yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of where I'm at in my space today is I got to do a full 7-round mock for tomorrow, and so I'm working on that right now. And I'll be honest with you, I've been busy with other stuff, so the whole beyond the first 2-3 rounds, I'm kind of, I don't know, whatever. I'm gonna be filling positions of need, but I can't sit. I lean on Dane Brugler pretty heavy for that stuff.
Okay.
Once we start getting closer to the draft, because that's his 24/7 job, so he's great with that stuff. But I was kind of just hoping I could do the first 3 rounds, but they want all 7, so I got cut out. Yeah.
Try to trade up, trade down, and do all of that. But whatever you do on that article, please don't have it showing that the Cowboys going with AOC, offensive lineman.
Don't do this.
Don't
even start the show off like that, man.
Get a tackle in the first round.
Get a tackle in the first round. Fire.
Show like
It's literally going to be this right here. It's going to be shame.
Is the Matrix getting me? Does anybody else see that green line, or am I spasming? About to have a seizure? What's happening? Y'all see that
what
on
happened?
me?
A green line?
Y'all see a green line on me, chat? Oh, Lord.
Well, before we get things going, I want to allow my brother over here to go ahead and speak on this right here, and we're going to get this show rolling. Let me go ahead and bring this up. Go ahead and talk about this right quick.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Bet US, America's favorite sports book. You can use Bet US to bet on all of your favorite sporting events, any kind of way you want, whether it's parlays, point spreads, money lines, whatever it may be. You can bet on that, including the odds on the NFL draft, who's going to be the #1 pick. Use promo code YouTube150 to get 150% back on your first-time deposit bonus, up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. Please remember, bet responsibly, and only bet if you can afford to, because ain't none of us gonna help you. Ain't none of us helping you pay no bills. So that's what I'm saying.
Here we go.
No doubt. And if y'all hit big, man, you can split it 3 ways over here, man.
You win some money on Bet US. Donate it in the Cowboys Collective when we go live.
Yes, indeed. So with that being said,
they said I'm on that powder. They said I'm on that Michael Irvin.
Michael Irvin, you going to the Michael Irvin party tomorrow?
In Brazil, if he gonna bring them silver glitters, I ain't going. If he gonna be coming in that bug with silver glitter on his chest, I'm not going, bro.
So
John probably knows what we talking about.
Let me ask you this, John. You've been here, of course, post Michael Irvin, but have you ever had any interactions with Michael Irvin, the playmaker?
I mean, I've been around him at like in group interviews and stuff like that, but I'm trying to think, where have I seen him? There's sometimes out in training camp.
Okay.
That I've seen him around there, outside of the facility. And then he usually when we do the media party at that Nobu that they do out in training camp, he's usually there for that. But yeah, I've never been around him when he really isn't like the guy that you see on TV, which makes sense because he's been doing that for so long. It's kind of like, to me, like, can you really be putting on an act if you're Snoop Dogg? Like, everybody seems everywhere. Like, that would be exhausting to try and just turn that on, and then as soon as the cameras turn off, you're like, okay, and then you're just totally different. And that's the way Michael Irvin is. Like, Michael Irvin is that you see on TV. At least that's the person I've seen, even when the cameras are off. So, always entertaining for sure.
Most certainly. So, any news around the star that's coming out tonight or tomorrow?
They cooking on anything? They working on anything?
Yeah.
They working on anything?
Yeah.
No, not nothing I know of right now. I'll be interested to see, as free agency starts next week, if there's, that's the thing. Like, the teams that make the moves early in the week, those are the usually like, if you put the free agents in tiers, that's usually that first tier. And I don't expect them to be active there, but towards the end of the week, I think that's where you could potentially see them making some type of moves there. But now most of the stuff that I've been hearing, I feel like we covered, yesterday, like even putting up that graphic there on the DK Metcalf thing. I mean, just seeing the trading a first or third they want, and then you got to pay him $30 million a year. Like, even those teams that are on that list, like, that's just not a list that the Cowboys aren't going to be a player for that. And really looking at that list, like, were the Commanders really going to do that if they just traded for Debo? That doesn't make sense. The Steelers don't seem like a team that would do a move like that. Patriots do have the money, and so I think that would make some sense. And then the Packers, that doesn't seem like a move they do. But the Cowboys need a number 2 wide receiver, but I don't see them doing a DK Metcalf, type move. But no, nothing really new from yesterday's show. Now's the time where we kind of wait to see what they're going to do in free agency. What are they going to do with this money that they've accumulated from restructuring Dak and CD's contract? And so, I get it that some people think that's, they're loading up to spend that money.
Right.
But I'd also just say, just brace yourself for, if they don't do anything early on, how they'll be talking about, well, we need that money for our draft class and this other stuff, and then other things like that. We've heard this stuff before, so
they
that's
better not.
why I'm not trying to sell very high right now. And then if they do something bold, then great. Then I look forward to it, and I can't wait to cover it. But last time I checked, it's pretty much the same front office, so I don't know why.
I can't wait for them to do something, man.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Just know when they do something, John. Boy, when you come on that collective, boy, I'm gonna be on you. I'm gonna be on you like white on rice, John.
And then I gotta smash some eggs
before that even happens. Just make sure that if you're gonna come strong, it better be on a good mood. I don't have any time for fans getting all excited about a middle of the pack move.
Oh no, I don't do stuff like
you, and I'm raise your
Mm-mm.
expectations, okay? You're
Most
the most valuable franchise in sports. That's the reason why they bother me with some of that stuff. It's like, all right, there's got to be one of these years in the last decade where you're like, all right, we got to empty the chamber here. You know? We got to try and make it go. And that's what's interesting about this team. The pieces that they have that they're paying, they're all either in their prime or just starting to enter their prime. Like, this isn't a young team where you're building it around a young Dak and Zeke where you're like, well, they're still young. This doesn't match up. If we go do a bold move, that doesn't match up. No, a bold move matches up with what you have right now. It matches up with the Micah window, the Dak window, the CD window.
The fans said they'll get the bars in the basement, John.
No, I understand that. Yeah, no, it's stepping over the bar. It's funny. So I see the one. I see that Brendan mentions about the Jonathan Allen. That's the position I got my eye on. Like, I did not get the sense from talking to Stephen Jones after the Zach Martin press conference yesterday that they feel that they're anywhere close to being done at defensive tackle just by getting Osa done. And so what else could they potentially do there? And so that's a spot that would be interesting. That would make a lot of sense to me. As I've said before, number 2 wide receiver, possibly another corner type player like that, but I don't see him spending on a linebacker. I don't see them spending on running back. Like, those are spots that they'll fill in the draft. So then the other one I would say would be some type of a veteran guard or tackle type that could also be a swing tackle type
Right.
thing. So then you can really go in the draft being like, well, we don't have to worry about offensive line at all. Like we added this player. They got to knock out some of these holes.
They
like
do.
I said yesterday, there's 7 or 8 spots and they need to fill at least 3 or 4 of these before the draft.
I want to play a game real quick since we're talking about knocking out holes. Pause again.
Let's go.
I got a list of receivers that are going to be probably going to be free agents or available on the market. I want to spit them out, and I just want to hear from you guys, rapid fire style.
All right.
Yes.
We smashing the passing. Let's go.
All right. Mouth of the Cowboys, spitting it out. Come on.
All right, I'm gonna have to go ahead and disclaim that one again. You know what, y'all? Disqualified the mouth of the Cowboys part at the end of at the beginning of the show. We're not gonna use that. We're not gonna use that. Law, you got me. All right.
Go ahead. Collectively speaking, go ahead.
We got Davante Adams.
You want me to say something?
What y'all thinking?
I let
We
John go
smashing
first because
the
I go. I'm smashing.
And do you
Yeah.
think that's something the Cowboys would do? Is the question, the follow up to that one?
I do, if the price was right. But the thing with me is I just feel like everything's setting up for him to go wherever Rodgers is going, and Rodgers isn't going to Dallas. So that's the only reason why. I mean, if let's say Aaron Rodgers goes to a team and that team's like, yeah, man, we know you're close with Davante, but we're good. We're doing this at receiver, whatever. Maybe Davante doesn't have the market that he is expecting, and then I'm in on that. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and I agree with John on that. The money have to make sense, and we know that his skill set. I think that he's not washed or what have you, but I don't think that getting is Davante Adams, in your opinion, John, worthy of me smashing eggs on my head, or that's not really it.
What? Hold on. Hey,
That's not an egg smasher.
What?
No,
That's
it's
not an egg
is it? He's 30, he's 32, 33.
He an all pro, man. Hey, man, hold on. Man.
Remember, we got to set the parameters, man.
You trying to wiggle up out of here?
I'm trying to wiggle out of it, but I'll be happy.
I see you play law. Hold on, man. This is out of control.
Come on with it.
John, is that an egg smashing move right there?
To me, it's not, but the bar is so the
Yes.
bar is so low that I mean, I could see. I don't
Okay,
know that-
I want to name the rest of these receivers. We're going to see what's the egg smasher move then.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, because I just look at whether you're talking about him or even like I know we're going to talk about Cooper Kupp. Like I look at those as like the combo of Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks. Like, yeah,
Right.
that's good and that's a good start and that's a good direction to go down. But that's not I don't know. That's not anything that's that crazy than it was the offseason 2 years ago or even the one in 2020 when they went and got Don Terry Poe and Gerald McCoy and Clinton Dix. Like, yeah, that didn't work out. So it was easy to look at in hindsight. But when they were making those moves, you're like, oh, wow, this is way different than what they were doing under Jason Garrett.
Chat think y'all capping, by the way. But chat like, no, that's an egg smasher.
That's an egg smasher. Okay, we let the chat determine.
3 years ago, but okay, sure, go.
Yeah.
That's the next one.
Yeah. What's the next one?
Okay, Keenan Allen. These are potentially available, meaning the teams may be trying to move off of them via trade. Because there's a lot of big names going via trade, by the way, not just receivers. Because we're going to get to a couple of those dudes. Trey Hendrick's name out there now. It's a lot
That's
of
an
crazy
egg
stuff going
smasher.
on.
But I would say that Keenan Allen is a taller version of what we did out of T.Y. Hilton. So
okay. And I agree with that. I think that's a good assessment right there. I agree with that. Hollywood Brown.
I'm good on both of these.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper.
Come on now.
Come on.
They're not bringing back Amari Cooper.
They ain't bringing back him.
Okay. I might as well go ahead and skip past these next two real fast.
No,
Diggs
keep going. Maybe we'll find a diamond in the rough.
Stephon Diggs.
Wait a minute. No.
Man, I think
You almost got me right. I was like, wait a minute. Him and his brother recovering. No.
yeah.
Hey, and Mama Diggs and son Diggs and brother Diggs. Hey, I like your son and everything, but I'm just putting a disclaimer out there. You know, he a no go for me.
I do too, man. I love our players, man. People
love our
start thinking I
players,
hate these guys, man.
Yeah.
I love our players, guys. I love our players. Damn.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know, John. What was that? I heard the noise from John. Hold on. What's going
Nah,
on?
I'm good.
Nah.
Okay.
I mean, we passing up all of them.
To be honest with you, everybody that you named, there's a price that I can.
Yeah,
if you don't add somebody, and you already have plans of going in another direction. Like, see, here's the thing. Like, we don't know definitively what they think of the wide receiver class yet in this draft. And if they come away thinking it isn't that great, I would obviously take one of those guys that you've mentioned so far over just running what they have right now and then adding like a 6th, 7th round pick or an undrafted free agent, hoping that you're going to find another like Cole Beasley or something. Like I would rather them add one of those players, but I have to see the price. It would have to be on a team friendly deal, like where they're not trying to break the bank and outbid on any of those guys.
Okay. Well, if y'all hated them names, y'all are definitely going to hate them. Okay. Tyreek Hill, for some reason, is on his list.
Man, I'll smash an egg for that one because of the fact that I don't think he's washed. I think that something was dealing with that quarterback and Mike McDaniels over there for what they were trying to do.
Mike McDaniels doing too much coke over there in Miami, man.
But I was gonna say this.
Allegedly, by the way.
Yeah,
allegedly, you got to put allegedly.
Pretty bold claim.
Allegedly. Pure speculation.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog.
According to my fake sources.
Yeah, you put them fake sources out there. But I would say
do you guys see a world where CD and Tyreek Hill are both good with the number of touches they're getting?
Oh, it's a lot of volumes of touches there. But I thought that they had something similar like a Jalen Waddle and Tyreek. I think that Tyreek can use 1A, 1B, or 1A, B, however that saying goes.
He can get his work done in 3 or 4 receptions, man. He can get a whole game worth of work done in 3 or 4 receptions. He doesn't have to be a high volume guy unless he's like the primary target. Then it's like you have to do what you can to get the ball to him. You got CD out there, Tyreek gonna eat without getting 10, 12 targets a game.
If he's cool with that, I'm all about that. I still think there's gas in the tank, but I just find it hard to believe that after 3-4 weeks, because here's the thing, like Tyreek, outstanding career and outstanding talent, but they didn't give $34 million to CeeDee Lamb to be the number 2. He's going to be the guy. And so as long as Tyreek's cool with that, hey, you're going to be the best, maybe the best number 2 in the league, but you're still going to be the number 2 here. If he's cool with that, then yeah.
My only reservation is, believe it or not, my only reservation is his stature and size because, to be fair to Tyreek, I like him better inside with two-way goals. We saw what he did when we played against him in Miami a couple of years back, whereas he can find a separation, but him lined up on the outside, there's only so many things that you can do that some DBs will wave him off and still have a safety over the top, and he don't offer you much on run support, so to be fair, it won't be as good. If CeeDee Lamb line up on the X a little bit more, then I'll say yes. But I can't turn down Tyreek Hill, though. I like to at least see it, though.
DeAndre Hopkins.
No.
Pass.
Yeah, I already know.
I'm still mad at D-Hop for dropping that ball in the Super Bowl.
Man, it wouldn't have mattered, man.
It wouldn't have mattered anyway.
They were getting curb stomped already.
They're getting curb stomped, but not that. It wouldn't have been that bad. Come on.
Man. Let me see. Tyler Lockett. Oh, no. I'll keep Brandon Cooks if I went there.
Nah.
Tolbert had better numbers.
Oops. Yeah, I'm
all
good
right,
on
so
Tyler
I see.
Lockett.
Okay, so Alex said 30-year-old wide receiver is a very bad business. I get it. It kind of goes with what I said yesterday. These aren't necessarily my beliefs. I'm just telling you the way that team operates. They'll look at a 30-year-old receiver on a 1-year deal because that benefits them. That if it's great, then maybe they get him to an extension. And if it isn't that great, then hey, then you're only invested in that player for 1 year, and then you can move on from him. So yeah, I wouldn't be trying to give a 30-year-old player like a 3-year deal or something. But if they're looking at like a 1-year deal for somebody that is 30, I don't hate that idea just because this is not a team that's going to. They're just not going to be in on like I said, the DK Metcalf, the top guys on this market. They're not going to be paying a number 2 receiver, 3-4 year deal at $30 million a year. They're just not a player like that.
Outside of Amari Cooper, they've been getting smashed up with these older receivers. I think that when they first originally went after Terrell Owens, he was 32, 33.
I don't know,
and
man.
T.Y. Hilton was 33.
I don't know, man. They're gonna have to do. I know we don't think that we're conditioned to just feel, and we almost have to set our expectations that way to not want to jump off of a cliff. But they have the 8th most salary cap in the league right now. Before doing the extension with Micah or anything else, right now the Cowboys have $54.3 million in salary cap space. I just cannot see them just being like, okay, guys, we cleaned up all this space just to re-sign Tyler early, and then we're gonna sign Bland early. Because even if they did that, it wouldn't like eat up all the cap. So I don't know. I think that they're gonna do something, man. I think that we're gonna be surprised, y'all. There's just no way they're sitting on this much cap, and they're not done yet. They're not done yet.
They're not done. I don't believe they are. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, y'all seen the list, right? Of the current NFL top 10 in the cap space.
Yeah, the Cowboys up there.
Yeah,
54.
And if once they get Micah's extension done, because what is his add to this year's cap? It's like what 8 or 18? I always get it mixed up. It's one of them. Once they get that done, they'll be in the top 5. Yeah, regardless which one it is.
I think it's an increase of 10 million or something.
Yeah,
like that.
So that puts them in the top 5. So it's like, bro, they got to do something this offseason. I just don't believe that they're going to be resting on their laurels this year. Y'all get us to 100 likes, man. There's 275 up in this piece. Look at the 100 real quick, y'all. Please. Thank you.
Come on, man. Come on, y'all.
Damn. All right.
Come on with it.
There we go. John, what do you think? Okay, I do want to ask you about something. I feel like just reporters in general, not necessarily Cowboys reporters, but just reporters in general have a lot to do with this type of thing. Mm-hmm. What do we feel the reports are about Shedeur Sanders as it's floating around? This came out of nowhere about him kind of having bad interviews and that type of thing. Like, what is that about? Is that someone trying to railroad Shedeur specifically? Is that draft tactics, or you think there's some truth to it? Did you get a chance to interact with Shedeur at all? Have you interacted with him?
I haven't. I mean, I was at his press conference at the Combine. Yeah, he certainly thinks a lot of himself. So I can think that I could see how it could rub some people the wrong way. I saw some of those reports too, comparing it to how Caleb Williams was. And, hey, I mean, there's a reason I'm doing this, and I'm not going to be in any front offices, but you're not putting Shedeur Sanders for me in the same category as Caleb Williams. I can put up with more with Caleb. I just think Caleb's ceiling is higher.
Wow. Yeah.
I just think that Shedeur is a good quarterback, but he's in a really poor quarterback draft class. And so we know how it goes. Like, he's going to get drafted pretty high by a team. And then, so who knows how that works out or whatnot. Like, he's obviously talented, but I don't know. I don't put him in that same category as like Caleb, where Caleb kind of called his shot. Caleb, the only guys going ahead of Caleb are like, I'm talking over the last like 10, 15 years, are like Andrew Luck, like the guys that for 4 or 5 years, like, yeah, when that guy gets out there, like, if things keep going this direction, I could see like Arch Manning being there. But I don't know. That one report I saw, I think might have been Todd McShay, about like some teams not loving the interviews and that he didn't seem like he didn't really care what the teams thought of him. Right. Just going to get drafted, and instead it reminded him of Caleb Williams. I'm like, well, if that is the case, I'm not in the room, I don't know. But if it is the case, then that is a bad sign, because there's just certain things like with Caleb that I would put up with, because I'm just like, this is just such an incredible talent. And like, Shedeur is talented, but he's not like that.
So you're telling me
he'd be the clear one in this? Caleb Williams is in this draft. He's the clear one.
100%. So you're telling me if you were the GM and you had the choice to pick out of Jaden Daniels, you would have picked Caleb still, Williams?
That's a good question.
Going into that
draft, Caleb, no doubt. After seeing this first year, I would probably go Jaden Daniels. He just showed too much. But I was trying to come at it from like the draft, pre-draft,
from the draft perspective.
But no, looking at it now, I probably would go Jaden Daniels 1, Caleb 2. But I mean,
what's your stance on like the ages of quarterbacks? Because Jaden Daniels, he's only like a year younger than Jalen Hurts. So it's like he's seen a lot of processes out there, and everybody else kind of super young. So is that kind of like an extra additive to pick an older quarterback that's been in college for a while?
I would have some interest in that. That was always a big thing with Mike McCarthy. Whenever we would talk to him, just off to the side, like non-Cowboys related stuff, he would always talk about the importance of, guys getting a certain number of snaps in college. And I think that really hurt Trey Lance. I mean, you can't fault Trey for leaving. I mean, he was the 3rd overall pick in a draft, but he probably needed another year of college. So I don't really have a problem with that for quarterbacks, because good quarterbacks that, are obsessed with their craft can play into their late 30s. And, and there's just not many positions in the NFL that can do that. And so, and even early 40s. So I don't really have an issue with that. I just as long as they're a good player, and if it took them an extra couple years to get to where they need to be, so be it. But that's one position I just think you can play a lot longer there at a high level than you can at some other spots. So, I mean, it certainly has helped for Cam Ward, no question. I mean, he's not going top 5 from, incarnate word. He needed that Washington State and Miami stuff. I mean, he's not coming back to Miami if he was in the position he is right now. He needed to go to Miami to elevate his stock to where it is. So yeah, I don't have an issue with any of the age stuff or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And I do think Shedeur is going to be a good NFL quarterback, but I think with him, a lot of it might depend on the team he ends up with. Like, maybe the Raiders might be a good thing for him because being at the Combine, he talked a lot about his relationship with Tom Brady. If they can have that close relationship and that's his mentor and stuff, it's just like there's some organizations like myself, growing up in Detroit, and that there are just so many years. I mean, most of my life where you're just like, man, the Detroit's just a bad spot for this guy. Like I really don't think Joey Harrington is as terrible as he is. If he goes to a good organization, that organization was terrible, and so it ruined him. And so that factors into, and I think it'll factor.
And that's a damn good point because I thought that Matthew Stafford could make every throw. I thought that he was.
Matthew Stafford was that dude coming out of Georgia. Though,
he was that dude.
Matthew Stafford was that dude
coming
out of Georgia.
As much as people will criticize Jason Garrett's time with the Cowboys, I thought Jason Garrett was a great coach for Dak as a rookie. I really did. I think he was great with not putting too much on his plate, but not also like limiting him to certain things, And so I thought that he had, and then obviously Jason was big on building that offensive line. So Dak was able to step in to a quality offensive line situation that you would always prefer that for a young quarterback, because you don't want this guy running for his life day one, and you can ruin a quarterback before he can be anything. So, yeah. And also it was pretty obvious too from Zach Martin's press conference there yesterday too. He thought a lot of Jason Garrett too as well. So I know sometimes after the fact people, look so negatively on him because they didn't win a Super Bowl, obviously. But I don't think Jason Garrett was a bad coach. I just don't think he was a great coach.
Right. Let me ask you this: what's your ultimate gut feeling with the pick 12? Ultimate gut feeling.
I mean, man, 2 weeks ago it was Genty and it wasn't even close, but it's not that anymore.
What did you hear that made you come off of that so hard?
Just talking to people with.
You must talk to some people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
People, they're like, "Where you?"
Like
well, the Combine, you get a lot better access than you're going to get normally. Especially in the off season. But I got some DMs from people being like, "Where are you getting this from?" I mean, hey, and I get it, and I get why people ask, because there is so much of that put out there with just people just throwing stuff out because they're just like, hey, it doesn't matter. I'll just throw this out there and I'll get a bunch of likes and retweets. And it doesn't matter if it's wrong. Who cares? Nobody can take back the traction I got on social media or on my YouTube channel. So I'll just say stuff. That's why I never do that, because I'm just never been a person like that. Like if I don't hear something from a person I trust, I just don't deal on second, third level, fourth level sources like that. I'm not going out there going, hey, I got to put out something wild when I leave the Combine. I'm just going to give you what I think. And to be honest with you, the thing I wrote about, there's people in the comments of that, they're just like, this is boring, didn't even get all the way through it, whatever. And that's fine. Then you didn't get anything. I'm not going out here just for clicks. Let me just say some wild stuff that nobody else is saying right now. No, it's you talk to people out there and you get a gauge from, this is the one nice thing I will say about the Cowboys keeping stuff the same for several years, is that a lot of the people that I've been able to deal with have been there for a while, so you can read them on, even if they're not telling you something directly, you can read in between the lines and then bounce it off of somebody else and ask other people. So that has been really nice about the Cowboys, that they have kept a lot of people in the front office that have been the same over the years. So you kind of know the way that they feel about things. But I'm not completely saying that they're out on Genty. It's not anywhere near what I thought it was going to be when I went there. And so for me, I think it's, to me, front runner would be Ted McMillan.
Okay,
now you trade for Cooper Kupp or you do a move for one of these wide receivers, that's completely out. But as they sit here today, looking at this roster, and you look at number 12, and you look at number 12, and you need to get a good value at 12, that sounds like somebody or a wide receiver there that would make sense. And if not, man, that trade back to 16, 18, that certainly seems like that would be a great move, but you also need a player there for other teams to want to come get. So who would that be? Who is somebody that somebody else wants? I mean, that's the tough part.
I don't think the Cowboys have many of them type of guys right now. As far as them having players that they could trade off to get more picks or anything like that. Or
I'm not even the fact of another team, a player that slips to 12.
Okay.
You're I'm not interested. I mean, let's be honest. That's what happened with the Micah draft. It was they were sitting there. They wanted one of those corners bad. They go the first two, like right before they pick, they're the next two picks. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, the Eagles really wanted Devontae Smith, and the Cowboys are like, well, we're not moving back 10 spots, but we'll move back 2. And then they still get Micah, and then the Eagles obviously get the receiver they want. So that's where it's like, that's why it's always great when you don't need a quarterback to have quarterbacks in the draft that teams will trade up for, because that's what you'd really want to be. That's the ideal situation, is that you're in a spot where some other team's like, well, we want Shador or something. But I think that seems unlikely for at 12. So maybe it's not.
It seems as if though, like the Bengals could be the one at play, because they are letting people, test the market, and they're releasing this and that. You think they'll climb up, or that organization is kind of like the Cowboys? They kind of value their picks.
That is, I feel so bad for Joe Burrow.
I feel bad for Dak Prescott. Forget
Yeah. I just got this feeling with the Bang. I mean, say what you want about the Cowboys, and I've been critical of the Cowboys, especially over the last couple of years, about things that they do that I just think for the most valuable sports franchise, it should be done better. But man, they're not even close to being on that level of the Bengals, where you're just like, I think we look back 10 years from now, 15 years from now, and go, man, that's crazy that Burrow got them to that Super Bowl. They're just not a well-run organization. I mean, you guys saw that stuff that came out last week, where it was from the NFLPA, and it's the players on the teams ranking, giving grades to things and stuff like that. Like, the Bengals are not in a great situation, and just to let go of some of the players they are is just pretty wild. So yeah, maybe we
could fleece them for Trey Hendrickson then.
Maybe
we'll fleece them.
There's got to be a lot of teams thinking that right now, because
they got to make payment. They got to make payment, and their defense is already porous. So now they're thinking about, okay, let me get rid of one of my better players so I can get more back in return. But this is the play right now. Would you rather make a deal for Trey, or would you rather make a deal for Myles Garrett?
Oh, Myles Garrett for sure. Myles going to get definitely more money, and you're going to get more money,
and it's going to be more value, right?
Yeah, you have to give up more for him. Trey is more affordable, but Myles Garrett for sure. I mean,
we still got our own defensive ends we got to figure out.
But Trey is Trey a double-digit sack guy though, right?
Yeah.
He
had a huge year this past year.
Yeah. I think he's like 15 sacks, something like that.
It's great.
I gotta ask y'all, because we still got 4 more important free agents, I think, for the Cowboys that are just still kind of hanging out there. So I just kind of want to get your gut feeling, based off anybody might have ran into at the combine, John, or anything. DeMarcus Lawrence, Jordan Lewis, and it was a couple more guys. Start those two. Yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence, Jordan Lewis, Rico.
Yeah.
And it was just, I guess, those
give me
3.
one more so I can rank them in order of likelihood of coming back.
Eric Kendricks, that's the other one.
Okay. I would say a likelihood of coming back, Jordan Lewis would be 1.
Okay.
Rico Dowdle would be 2.
Okay.
And Kendricks would be 3. Lawrence would be 4th.
Wow.
How little that I think that they're willing to spend on Lawrence. I just think he'll find something better somewhere else. He would prefer to remain in Dallas, but I don't get the sense that they have a ton of interest there.
I heard J. Lou had a good sit down today with Matt Eberflus.
I know. I didn't see that. I saw some people tweeting about that at the Zach Martin thing. So
Wow.
No, I mean, I don't. That to me, the way Jordan Lewis has played, like, it really didn't matter to me if Mike McCarthy was the coach, or it was Ben Johnson, or Bill Belichick, or Mike Vrabel, or Brian Schottenheimer. I always thought Jordan was going to be a priority to come back. If Jordan was like one of these guys where he's like, I just want to do 1 year, like, I don't think there's nobody even hesitating. But he looks at this as this is his chance to get his last really good contract. So he wants a 2-year deal. And so, But hey, he's got a good leverage point, because just to where the Cowboys are at corner, you really need to bring him back, and then still probably add another corner. So yeah, he would be number 1 out of those guys you named for me. Like, I'll be surprised if Jordan Lewis isn't on the Cowboys this upcoming season. The others, like, I think that there's a chance, but it wouldn't surprise me like it would with Jordan Lewis.
Okay. I can't say the number out publicly, because it's still like good information that I can't say, but I did put it in the chat. I just want to know, is that asking price too high or too low? But too high for what he's wanting, John? It's in the chat, and group chat because I think that when I got a chance to talk to some of the people that were very close to him, I think that when you look at his market value on this spot
Over
rack
the cap.
Yeah.
over the cap, they got him right at 2 to 3. So that's a very very big very big dip
Yeah.
or jump between those two. I can't talk today for some reason, but that's a very big jump in between those two. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that seems kind of high. I mean, just because of the age and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it'll be more 2 or 3, but I don't think it gets up into like 8 to 10 range or anything like that.
Okay,
but it's tough. It's tough to judge his market because he's at his best on the inside, and it's a little bit easier if you're one of these like outside, shutdown type guys like that, where I think the best thing for Jordan Lewis is not only how he defends on the inside, but he's a guy you can use as a blitzer. He just does a lot of other things. And then the leadership aspect he brings, that the Cowboys know that because they've seen it for several years now, where other teams might not value that as much. So I'm interested on that one because it's hard to project just because of the age.
yeah, it's gonna be really hard. When you made that article and made that post about genuine interest of Rico, his is right up there too with $6 or $7 million on the spot rack.
He was a rookie before I do that.
What's your thoughts on that, John?
Yeah, it's tough to say because he's in a good spot with them because free agency's before the draft and they don't have anything that you'd look at and go, oh, well, there's no Tony Pollard or anybody there where you're like, well, we don't need to re-sign you. Like, there's going to be interest there in re-signing him. But I would think that they're still going to use a draft pick on the position. I don't think they're just going to run Rico and that's going to be it. They got to do more there. And so I think they'll make a pretty good effort after Rico. But if it gets to a place where they're bidding against other teams, I think that they'll just go young at running back and draft possibly 2 or draft somebody high and then sign some guys as undrafted free agents and maybe even sign some veteran guys. And you're hoping that guy that you use, whether it's Genty or maybe somebody early in the second, that they can be your bell cow, that they're going to be the guy that gets the most carries. Whereas if you go and you bring back Rico Dowdle, then it could be more of a 50-50 split with whoever that running back is. Obviously not if it's Genty, though. And maybe that'll be kind of telling. If they're willing to spend a decent amount on Rico, that will show you that they have no interest in a running back at 12, because they're not going to spend big on a running back and then go and draft one high. They just the value's not there at the position.
Right. Somebody said, weren't they trying to bring back Chauncey Golston?
Yeah, they'll try. Yeah, that could be a possibility for sure. Yeah. And the only thing is that you get a team like a Washington or somebody that also knows him, and maybe they overpay a little bit because they might have maybe a little bit more room to work with or willing to work with. But no, he's still a possibility too.
I think the activity that Washington and the Eagles kind of got going on right now, I think that's going to help us.
It's going to help us.
I want Cowboys fans to understand it is a good thing to keep seeing Washington make these moves, trading for guys and re-signing. They just re-signed Bobby Wagner to a 1-year deal.
Right.
The Eagles just re-signed Zach Bond, and they're going to make some moves at some point. We need them to make as many moves as they possibly can before the start of free agency, because that is going to pin the Joneses in the corner. This is the law.
Yeah.
Chat, law, Cowboy fans everywhere. This is the offseason for me, man. This is going to be the offseason right here where if they don't do something, I'm going to be forever pessimistic for the rest of the time I'm on this platform as it pertains to the Jones fan. Because they have no excuse. Like, we see a mass exodus of free agents, dudes that are going to be post-June 1st cuts that are still damn near Pro Bowl level players. Like, so many guys are becoming available because I feel like a lot of teams mismanage their salary cap.
Right.
And we're kind of seeing the results of that. And they have no excuse because all these guys can't get paid the way they want to get paid. So you're going to get some good players that have to take less than they probably want. The Cowboys have to strike this offseason.
And just to echo off of that, I was going to say that when they made the move today to sign Bobby Wagner for $9.5 million, I was like, yes, because he couldn't stop a nosebleed out there. Man, and he's a name. He's a name, and I get it. He's got a good resume, but he's a little long in the tooth. He's a little delayed on stopping the run, and he's suspect in coverage. He's a good linebacker. Don't get me wrong. But 9.5 million, I'm like, yes, keep spending,
Yeah,
Washington.
keep spending.
Yeah,
You just took on that 20 from Debo's. Got
Yeah.
9 on Bobby. Keep putting all that cap space that you
Yeah,
got.
and we almost right here now.
Yep.
AOC, we almost about right here on that cap. But go ahead, John.
For where Washington's coming from, though, and how much Dan knows Bobby, I don't even bat an eye at that, because I'm sure a lot of it has to do also with not just on the field, like the culture and everything. They had to flip a lot, when Dan got there, and for them to make a move like that just speaks to, he obviously had a lot of value beyond just on the field for flipping it from. I mean, let's be honest, when you're that type of organization, and you're losing like that over and over again, you're not really a real contender for decades. Like, you got to flip that culture somehow. And I'm sure he was a big part of that. So he might have more value to them than maybe he does to other teams. But yeah, I'll be fascinated to see that as well, about what they do, because, during the season and even towards the back end of the season, whenever Steven or Jerry were asked about like the Eagles and, how they've spent and stuff like that, they didn't definitively say it this way, but if you read between the lines, which that's what Jerry wants you to do, that's why he talks the way he does, so that we spend all this time dissecting it. He made it seem like that, they think that the Eagles are going to have like a time where, the rent's due now, that they're going to have to take a step back. Well, they go and make Myles Garrett right now. And that shows you that they don't really think that, how aggressive they've been. That doesn't really think that they're really that worried about, 2028, they're worried about right now. They're trying to hit in their window. And again, if this was 2016, 2017, 2018, I get the whole Dak's kind of young and whatever. No, you're all these guys you're paying are in their prime. Now's the time to strike. When are you going to spend when Dak's in his, next contract after this and he's in his late 30s? Now's the time to go. And so, yeah, no, absolutely. AOC, you should be upset and pissed off at them if they don't do anything.
Yeah. It's going to be weird.
Joey Bosa, I saw that in the
Joey Bosa. How do you feel about
that? I would be very interested in Joey Bosa, because then you put Bosa opposite of Micah, and then all of a sudden you got some great depth with Sam Williams, with Marshawn Kneeland, and man, that pass rush looks great. I know he's had injury history and stuff like that, but it would be interesting to see that one. I do have some interest in Bosa at the right price.
Yeah, and then he will alleviate a lot of things because of the fact that Sam Williams, Marshawn Kneeland, and Tyrus Wheat, whoever be that other guy that's rotating in and out with him, that will work. I would love to get Joey over here.
If they had Overshown 100% healthy, I think he brings pass rush where I wouldn't be as concerned about DN. But if you're not bringing back Lawrence, I need another DN that I can count on. And then if Sam Williams or Kneeland have great years, well, then that's great. That's just, then, hey, you'll take that all. But I don't want to have to 100% count on one of you guys have to make a big jump, and stay healthy, by the way, So they need another pass rusher somewhere if they're not going to bring back Lawrence.
And by the way, everybody in the chat, 400 people in here. Thank y'all for rocking with us today. As we approach the last 15 minutes of the show, I want y'all to go ahead and start getting your wallets out. Whether you can send $1, $2, $3, $4, $5. Go ahead and start sending your questions in to the collective. If you want your specific questions answered, I don't care if you ask us how long of belly button hair do you want. Send in your questions and we'll answer them for you via super chat. But yeah, man, I want to kind of get into something because there's been a lot of talk, and it seems like this feeling of the Cowboys having avoided leadership has started to that feeling has started to kind of grow and grow and grow, and we're hearing that narrative more and more. So I kind of want to hear from someone that's around the star a lot, that's around home base a lot, and it doesn't have to necessarily be from the players or anything, but just people around the building, just in general. Who are the players in this Cowboys organization? Do you really feel like the organization as a whole really gravitate towards as far as looking to as a leader, or looking to as like the faces of the organization and guys that have an impact on their peers, like a legitimate impact? Like, I feel like the Marvion Overshown, he felt like one of those guys to me. From the outside looking in and seeing how his teammates talked about him, the Marvion Overshown felt like one of those guys that had like a tangible impact on the locker room.
And before you go on that, John, just for reference, me and AOC yesterday, we got a chance to talk to TP, Terrence Parsons, the brother of Micah Parsons, and we asked him, who's the leader on his defense? and he couldn't even mention his own brother's name. So from your
that
from
was
your
telling to me,
eyes,
too. That was telling to me, too.
Yeah, that was telling. Like from your eyes, what do you see? Like who's the leader of the defense or the team in general? I know Dak, but who's the leader of this defense?
Yeah, no
outside
question.
of Dak, man. Outside
Yeah,
of Dak.
no question. I mean, there is no leader on that team bigger than Dak. So that's where it starts there. He would be the leader of any team that he's on. And I don't think that you need to look any further than the stuff that Zach Martin said. I mean, Zach Martin's been around for 11 years. He's seen a lot of football. And the way he talks about Dak, it's like it just cuts through all the BS that you would see on like any like the national TV shows and stuff like that when they just want to stir up debate and everything like that. Like there's no question that he's the leader of the team.
Right.
With
that's a
Zach
problem.
Martin, and if Lawrence doesn't come back, Micah's got to step up and you got to have more from him because you're losing two major leaders in Zach and Lawrence. Like that's what I mean longevity brings that. Yeah. And then you're going to get this huge contract too. He has to be, and it's got to be all the time. It can't just be on the field on Sunday. It's got to be during the week. So they're going to need more leadership from him for sure. But on defense, yeah, Overshown would be one. But yeah, there's not like a lot of obvious ones. I mean, it was setting up for Overshown for sure. But
it felt like it. It really felt like it.
Yeah, but you got to be on the field to be a leader.
And that's
tough
the problem.
To do that. From the sidelines, you got to be on the field and you got to be producing. So, there's not one that just absolutely jumps out like that to me at all. They need it. They need somebody over there. But on offense, on offense, it's no question Dak, and I think in the offensive line room, Tyler Smith is kind of getting to that spot where I can see him taking that over. But again, that's because he's one of their best players, and that's where that leadership has to come from. It can't just be somebody that's just loud trying to do rah-rah stuff.
Right. Okay, that's we're gonna get back into it. Go ahead, Law.
Okay, all right, man. That's too much for me to read, King. Hey, go ahead. You read the AOC, man. I got my Hooked on Phonics eyes over here, man. You read that.
Education popped out real quick. I said, hello, Hooked on Phonics is here.
Hey, real quick before you get to that, Dre mentioned J. Lou. J. Lou is one too.
He's a leader.
J. Lou, absolutely.
Okay. So he's a vocal leader, right?
He can be
vocal
both,
leader.
yeah, no
we both of
question.
them. Okay, good.
Hey,
okay, good.
And I know fans might not care about this, but I'm telling you, it's always an interesting sign to me of when things aren't going well. Who's the guy that's willing to stand in front of their locker and talk? Because someone has to talk. Someone has to be a voice. J. Lou has always been that guy where he's like, hey, I'll take it. I know that we got it, whatever. That's like key right there. People from afar will hear that and be like, oh, you're a journalist. Like you just want, somebody to talk to you.
No, it makes sense.
Trust me, I got something to write about all the time. I don't need, if the players don't want to talk, that's fine. But it takes pressure off the other guys. And it also shows you, hey, this guy feels comfortable enough to talk in front of everybody because he's like, I'll take it. I know what's going on here and stuff.
Right.
And that's definitely Jordan Lewis, no question.
No doubt.
We'll jump back into it. We got King G for the 10 for your mind. We got if we was to trade for a player. If we were to trade for a player, King G, by the way, insert any name. Would you guys rather take on more money and get and a giver?
I told you I couldn't read it.
What's the song that little mouse on Tom and Jerry said? I'm a winner, I'm a swinger and a singer.
We gonna put you on Gracie Corner, man. Come on, hurry up and read it. Come on.
Take the money out, all of it. Would you guys rather take on more money and give a lesser draft pick, or give a higher draft pick and take on less money?
That's tough for me because when I see the word trade, there's nothing that they could do that would get me more excited about the 2025 season than I've already told you guys. Like it's trading up and getting Travis Hunter. Like that's the move that they could make. And it makes sense to me too, because I do think Travis Hunter is going to be a good NFL player, and he would be under a rookie contract as opposed to, a veteran type guy. And I'm not saying like that I would try and play him all the time at corner and wide receiver. This isn't college. You'd have to manage his work. But that's the move that to me would be the most like, man, that's all right. Okay. Here they go, like that. Yeah. And it's not 100% unrealistic because you'd have to probably give up next year's one. And I get that. But if you're good enough, like you should be with Travis Hunter and some of the other moves you make, you shouldn't be picking in 12 next year. You know what I'm saying? Like you should be picking in the 20s, so.
That's a great question though.
Yeah, it is. There's not
Go
a
ahead,
player
Law, what's your
in
answer?
the league right now that a team would be willing to trade that I would, because now you got me thinking, okay, let's say every player is available, and Myles Garrett would be very high on that list.
That's a good question.
I'm very pro pass rush. Outside of quarterback, that's the next most valuable thing to me is someone that can pressure the quarterback. And another reason why I don't see any way that they would part ways with Micah Parsons because they know how hard that is to find. But I guess depending on what Aiden Hutchinson looks like coming back from his leg injury, because he was on a trajectory where you're like, damn, like he might be the best defensive player. Like a TJ Watt, balling. Somebody if you could add another pressure player opposite of Micah. Man, those other 9 guys on defense, their job just became so much easier. You have holes at defensive tackle, it fixes a lot of stuff real quick. So I think an elite defensive end would probably be, if I could trade for anybody, that's what it would be.
Most certainly. I just looked at it like this. Normally, I'd be like, man, F them draft picks. But I was looking at it like, because with the DK Metcalf, I would love to have that. But we have so many holes. And I'm not leaning on that the draft will fill and solidify those things. But the money on the back end, like the money can always be circumvented as long as we don't ever franchise tag again or pigeonhole ourselves into a corner of not spreading the money out. So I would rather for us to have the ability to go out there and just go get the player and worry about the money on the back end, because I'm seeing that that's what the Eagles do anyway, right? The avoidable years, spreading the money out, and then kicking the can down the road, because the NFL is at its all-time height, and I think that will be the best way for the Cowboys to build, but they don't operate that way.
We about to miss one. My boy Him had sent one in. He said, like John, I hope they just go for it. Everyone talks about the 2029 Eagles cap crash, but if they win 2 Super Bowls, they won't care. And that's I think that's the way all fans feel that way, man.
Right.
And
who cares?
But I'm even going on, forget the Super Bowl. I'm saying, like, even if all you get out of it is another trip to the divisional round, at least you have the looking back and pointing to that offseason and go, hey, can't say that we didn't try. We emptied the tank.
Yeah.
When's the last time you can say that about the Dallas Cowboys?
That's why the 49ers front office has avoided so much smoke, though.
Yeah.
Because they always try. They always try. Every offseason, you can't look at an offseason or a trade deadline where you're like, oh, the 49ers, they didn't try to make their team better. No, they always try. So people don't pay attention to, the 49ers actually haven't won a Super Bowl longer than the Cowboys. But it just looks differently. But that's a good question too.
And you know what, John? You know what? By the year 2029, what these guys don't understand as well, we'll be playing 18 games by that time frame.
Yeah.
The money is going to grow so much. Netflix is in the deal. I wouldn't be surprised if the NFL won't be on. The NFL may be on Tubi, So it's just everywhere. So this is an all-time money grab high for the NFL. So in 2029, 2030, the salary cap is going to be probably at $1 billion. So we shouldn't be worried about this.
No, I agree with that. I think the other one, I was like, where the other one go?
Yeah, you go right here.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, we kind of touched. I think John already kind of gave his answer for that earlier. He pretty much was saying Ted or like a wide receiver fell there. I don't know. I'm still really hung up on Asher Genty, but I'm not gonna lie to y'all. The closer we get to the draft, the more people can convince me, like, hey, let's get a running back in the second or third. Like the closer we get there, the more I'm like, you know what? With some of these defensive guys that are out there, the linebackers, the defensive line, or a receiver, or even a DB, if a Malachi Starks or if a Will Johnson felt like, you could convince me, like, let's make that move. I think my mind is actually opened up to the point to where I'm not pigeonholed to where I'm going to be disappointed by any pick unless it's offensive line in the first round. I can't do it this year, or a tight end.
To a degree, I think it's a lot of smoke screen with the Cowboys with wide receivers. I don't think that the Cowboys give up on their wide receivers too quickly. I think that they still would like to see Ryan Flamingo. I mean, not Flamingo. I keep on thinking about Jonathan Mingo. Ryan Flo. I've been calling him Flamingo. They're both added together. And I think that they probably still like Tolbert. They probably paying a little poker with us with this. So I think that the Cowboys still may go with a running back because they I think they probably still go with a running back, y'all. I'm having
if they don't, who do you guys like in the second round? Like, who would be the guy that like realistically could be there in the second round at running back that you'd be like, okay, I'm fine with that.
Realistically,
like one of the Ohio State guys.
Ohio State.
I don't want
Henderson.
Trayvon Henderson as my RB1. I don't want Trayvon Henderson as my RB1.
Him and Rico.
No, Law. That's
mid.
That's mid and mid. No, I was playing. Trayvon Henderson ain't mid, but I don't want him as an RB1. Like Foots would say, if Foots were here, he'd be like, the reason Ohio State brought Quinshon Judkins is because Trayvon Henderson couldn't stay healthy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't want him as my one. I think he's a great back. But just overall for what the Cowboys need, bro, I want some explosion. I want a guy that's going to be able to leave some dust clouds.
Giddens.
I'm looking at, Giddens, Damian Martinez. He look like he'll crack somebody's skull open. Caleb Johnson looking a little slow. I think Omarion Hampton may end up being like a late first type of guy. I think somebody might trade back into the first or something to pick him up. But yeah, I'm looking at those two, Giddens, Damian Martinez. One of those type of guys.
That's the Hampton stock seems like it's going into the first, like mid first round at the, I don't think he's like realistically going to be there for them. So
I don't think so either.
Yeah. And it says, David for the $4.99. If we don't bring back D-Law, who should we look at to fill that position?
That's a good question because I feel like that question honestly kind of speaks to why they have to make certain moves. They're going to have to do certain things to fill the roster. Because if you don't bring D-Law back, you do need to have a proven right edge over there, bro. You got to have it.
You know the craziest thing? It just hit me. They've been trying to replace D-Law since they went and draft tacos. You know what I'm saying? It's like D-Law still been here. Like literally, Sam Williams supposed to be already up and going.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You can't replace D-Law.
And Marshawn Nealon was a mini-me, and I'm willing to bet if Nealon was able to play the full season and he looked the way that they thought he was going to look, they would have D-Law. The decision would already be made right now. I'm willing to bet.
I think DN could be very in play at 12. And I know you guys won't love that, but
it depends on who it is.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Pierce
but
kid, he ran pretty good.
Yeah, if it's Pierce, I like Pierce.
Yeah,
I do like Pierce. And I think that whoever it is, man, I think the Cowboys just have to really move towards a culture of we need roughnecks, man. We need roughnecks. We need dudes on this team you don't want to walk down the same side of the sidewalk with at night. I need those type of dudes. I need beans and weenies babies. I need those. I'm serious. I don't want any more. I for real. I don't want any more golf caddies, and we don't need any more fashionistas. We have enough. They ballers, but it's time to get the roughnecks in here, man. For real.
Come on.
You don't want any more podcasters?
I mean, honestly, Travis Hunter got a podcaster, so I would be a fool to say that, John. Look, here's my thing with the podcast. Before I know we're about to wrap it up. Here's my thing with the podcast, man. I don't have a problem with player podcasts unless you start doing stuff or saying stuff that kind of goes against your core demographic. That's my only issue.
Yeah, because Brock Hoffman got a podcast and we don't even bring it up.
Yeah, because he don't. Look, he.
I get John to laugh.
Nah, man. Hey, man, y'all better go check out the 8th Round podcast. We're playing with Brock Hoffman.
We're gonna be a special guest on Brock Hoffman podcast. We're gonna jump on
Brock
that, man.
Brock can sub in for Foots next time.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna bring Brock on the collective.
But yeah, man, we need roughnecks, bro. We need about 10 more Brock Hoffmans on offense, and we'd be good as far as mentality.
Ooh, if we get Brock Hoffman type on defense.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
that's
the mindset.
Because to me, the type of mentality Brock Hoffman has is essentially like a mirror version of Jalen Carter.
Right.
It's the same. It's in the same type of vein.
And
if I can get
those are, I will say, positions where it really benefits you to be that way. So if you
you have to be that way.
Like Hoffman, that's a D tackle. You'd love to have that, who's just the try hard kind of like maybe not the most talented guy, so you don't have to use a big investment on him, but he is the type of, like they say, glass eaters that you're just like, oh yeah, no, this guy, he's not the most talented, but he's always going to be out there. He's always going to be scrapping. He's going to eat up double teams. You'd love to have that.
You know, the first person I want Brock Hoffman to fight in training camp, just fight Mozzie. Get Mozzie mad. Hey, if Mozzie can he's a gentle bear, Yeah. Fight Mozzie, Brock Hoffman. Come on with it.
What would you? What would,
Mozzie.
so what would your reaction be if Mozzie like easily won?
I'll be like, thank you, Mozzie. Good. Get a couple more wins. Get a couple more wins.
Hey, I
Build that confidence up.
Turn training camp into Fight Club in that mud. Hey, y'all just come into the ring. Hey, we ain't even practicing today. We just fight.
Yeah, come on, fight. Come on, man. Sure, that's what we need, though. I just need for Mozzie to toughen up. I just think that his overall demeanor is not mean, and I could be a million percent wrong.
Mean. He just looks mean.
Yeah,
he looked like Mark Henry's son, but bruh, we need you suplexing people like Mark Henry used to do, Mozzie. Damn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he'd be him, Osa, a few of the offensive linemen. They would definitely be guys that like when you just see them walking around the facility. You wouldn't try and like start anything with them. That's for sure. Like nobody would say, like I see on Twitter and stuff like that, when Mozzie's not playing well, like none of those people would say that to his face.
No, they wouldn't say it.
And I definitely wouldn't say this. Mozzie is the only 20-year-old that got the hairline of a 50-year-old. I'm not messing with nobody that got that kind of situation going on.
Yeah.
But his hairline back here and he got that strong forehead. Hey.
Yeah. I just saw what he did with 800 pounds, man. I saw what Mozzie did with 800 pounds, and I'm barely at 200 pounds.
Yeah,
so I can only know. Mozzie, I talk that stuff, but then you hear this. Hey, Long's winning the fight until.
don't touch me, I'm suing.
Don't touch me. Because when he grabbed me, it's over with. It's just over with. Like, what happened to that Law Nation guy? Yeah, he ran up on Mozzie, and he's a wallet now.
We rock with y'all boys, though, man. Hey, we rock with y'all boys. Hey, man, y'all make too much money. Y'all too successful. Y'all are living a dream to not be able to take a joke. Real talk.
Yes, indeed. In closing, though, final words from you, AOC, and then we'll finish it out with John. What's your final word?
I appreciate you, gentlemen. My head hurt and I got a headache. I muscled through this one. I'm ready to go take a nap. I'm sleepy, low.
The mouth of the Cowboys.
Don't say that no more. We retired it.
Oh, you retired? Okay.
You definitely can't.
I'm going to run off with it. There's going to be a cut up.
You and that voice. Don't need to say that. You don't need to say that.
Jeez. John Machota, what you got going, man? What next projects you got, or what's your final word?
Yeah, I'm going to put together this 7-round mock draft tonight, so you guys, people, please read that tomorrow on The Athletic. But I was going to say that, I just hope that, next week when we're doing shows, we got stuff to report on, that there's exciting times ahead. I also like the comment in there that someone just had that just scrolled past that said they didn't like it when Mozzie said, I don't even like football. I just like to hit people.
Right.
The reason that stood out to me is because that was one of those when you're standing there, and I'll never forget it when he said it. You're like looking at some other reporters like,
yeah.
I know what you want to hear from the first row. Here we are.
And he was all big on that reporter too, and I was wondering if the reporter said, "What you mean about that?" What he would have said, because he looked vicious, but
he looks the part. There's no question about that.
Yes,
I can see how he won a lot of people over in the pre-draft process for sure. I'm not going to put a Cowboys flag in my background. I'm a beat writer. I cover the team. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I just saw that. You're not going to see that. You'll never see me wearing like a Cowboys.
Come on, John.
He's not even a Cowboys fan.
He's independent, man. His thoughts are independent of John, not persuade or anything like that of Jones's. Come on with it, John.
I don't even even at practice and stuff like that. Like you'll never even see me wear like a logo of another team. Like not obviously not an NFL team, but I'm a huge Duke basketball fan. Like I would never wear I don't know. I'm just not like that. I'm just kind of old school in that sense. So yeah, you're probably not going to see going to see that. But if anybody wants to advertise, we can put that back there.
Come on with it. Y'all see it. Bet US. Send him a step and repeat. Come on, Bet US or somebody else.
Well, Whataburger.
Come on,
real talk.
What's your go-to before we go? What's your go-to on Whataburger? I know he got a headache down there.
That. I just, whatever cheeseburger meal.
A cheeseburger?
Yeah,
I'm good, Law. I ain't going to disappear like foot.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Foot all right, y'all, man.
He did do that yesterday. He was not messing around.
Hey, the line wasn't even done yet. He was already gone. Boy.
Yeah, I was like, and one more thing, here go, man. But all right, man, one love to y'all. Shout out to everybody. Do us a huge favor. Sharing is caring. Share this all over. We done hit 2,000. So next time we live, let's be at 3,000, man. Like Andre, let's get it. Peace. We out.
Miss you, Foots.
Foots. He footed us,